Oh, hey guys, welcome to my channel, welcome to my stream, and welcome to another chapter working on this guy right here. That's the F-16 Aggressor. So, I think I just need to load up my intro and we'll get started on this, okay? Okay, so guys, we laid down some white paint. Today's going to be a gray day, okay? Gray, both literally and metaphorically. We got a little bit of rain here in the Canadas, so yeah, it's gray out. But we're also doing gray, and that's going to be this. We got the white done, and I spent a good couple hours, well, maybe, is it a couple hours? Maybe a couple hours. Thanks, airplanes. Yeah, airplanes, you know, airplanes sound cool unless you're trying to talk. But anyway, so I got the white laid down like what we did last time, and now it's time for gray. So I masked off all the parts of the white that I want to keep white, and we're going to lay down some gray today. It's all about gray, okay? So I'm hoping I've got time to actually do the black today, but I doubt it. Just because of how much gray does have to be laid down, and I have to do a whole bunch more masking after it's done. And of course, yeah, I don't want to show you guys masking. Like, it's boring enough watching models being built. Yeah, I don't want to bore you guys with masking. So I have it all set up. I show you guys here, basically a lot of the plane is going to be gray, right? So you can see I've cut all these out for my masks, so that I could get it exact. Yeah, so there's a lot of gray going down. I got to pay attention to exactly where. A lot of spaces I don't need to do, like our intake here does not need to be painted gray. I'm just going to leave that. And yeah, the actual nose cone is a slightly different color gray. It's a little bit darker. So I might just take a little bit of black, mix a little bit, just to paint the nose cone, just so it's a different shade of gray. And yeah, so, and I just realized I forgot I need to mask off this engine nozzle and get this done. So that's going to be the first thing I do, because I want to put this on the plane and paint it at the same time so it's all nice uniform color everywhere on the plane. So this is going to be first, guys. I'm going to change the camera. You guys actually do get to watch me mask this off. I'm sorry. But that's just the way it is. So let's change there. There we go. So I need to mask off just this little strip along here. It is a bit, it's got a flow to it. So I'm going to use my Tamiya tape for curves. Just got to find the edge here. Basically just using this opportunity to put the Tamiya tape over the line because it's got a curve on it. So just get this done, and then just do the rest in the regular masking tape to mask off the rest of the nozzle and get it over with nice and quick. And then we can move on to actually starting the painting process on this thing. And it's got one little section to go, and then we'll be done here. Put it on the plane, which I fiddle around with a little bit, but I eventually get it. Okay, so let's change the camera again. And so we're going to lay down some gray in lots of spots using my photos as reference. Sitting here for the last hour masking, my coffee's already gone cold. So I'll just put this over here. I will change the camera so you guys can watch me paint. I do have to remember that according to my photos here, my main landing gear bay doors have to be gray, while the one for the front stays black. Okay, so that's that. Those I got to remember to paint those gray, because as you can see in this photo here they are there. There's a little bit of black on them, but mostly gray, right? So in fact, in this picture, this one looks like it's white on there. But when you actually put the mask down, the white does not go to and cover this. It's actually just down the side. So, yeah. And I'll show you here. As I put the mask down here, it actually only just went up the side. It didn't go on to the actual landing gear door. So I don't have to worry about that. Anyway, make sure my camera's ready, and I'll get some paint going here. Get some paint in my brush. I've already thinned this out. This is roughly thinned, roughly 50%. But the amount of painting I am doing, though, I might get a little bit of drying in the tip. But, you know, Tamiya paints, they do dry pretty quick, but I'm going to try something I don't normally do. I don't normally put the lid back on the cup of my airbrush, and I was thinking about it the other day, and I was thinking, I wonder if putting the lid on the back on the cup of my airbrush, if I put the lid on, maybe this paint will dry a little slower. Maybe. It's a theory. It's just a thought I had. We will see. Okay, so let's change the camera. Alright, oops, wrong one. Okay, so I'm going to start with the tail fin, just because. Our tail fin right here, we got a little bit of gray up top and a little bit right here on the front. So I'm basically just going to copy that. With that, I'm going to actually hold this. I don't want to be spraying my fingers, so I'll just hold it with this while I kind of just copy that. Okay. And, alright, so just kind of, woohoo, let's blow paper around. Basically, all the way like that down to this line. Doesn't matter if I go far down, because we're going to be doing black later. So down to here, we're basically going to go straight down like that, and then straight across to this point. So it's basically straight down from about here. Hey, where are you going? Basically straight down and then across like that. Do a little bit further back, because I learned from my white, I didn't quite cover it exactly where I need it. So I did, a lot of times with the white, I wound up having to go back and spray more, just to do a bigger spot. Well, on the tail fin here, both sides seem to be almost identical. I do have my other fin picture for the other side somewhere in this pile. There it is. I think it's basically the same thing. And yeah, well, not quite. Actually, it is. This line with the white is up there. It's just, yeah. It's basically the same thing. So I'm basically just going to put some of this in. The nice thing about covering it with black is that I don't have to worry about it getting too much. Black covers everything nice and well. So just make sure I get the back here. So I blow more papers on the floor. I do want to make sure I have the white covered. A little overspray onto my masking papers, no big deal. Okay, so tail fin's done with the gray. That's it for that. There's no more gray on it, so that's that. I'll put that over here and let that dry, and we will move on. So let's do elevators now. I've got my elevators to do. Okay, and they're basically, they do have a black strip in the middle of them on this side, and gray on the black strip in the middle on this one, right? So this one's here, this one's here, like that. So basically, yeah, gray on the tip. You've got a big white section. Basically, it's just this tip here that's gray on this one, right? So, now of course this is the underneath, so it's actually this side, but it doesn't matter. They are basically top and bottom, kind of the same, but not quite, right? The side that has a big triangle white, which is this one, big triangle white, it's the same, top and bottom, just a big gray strip in the middle. So, basically just that. It's that side. Okay. That's good enough for that coat. I'm just going to let that sit for a minute. We've got the similar kind of thing here, except we've got gray on the front, and then basically the whole back section is gray. So we've got a big section up front here, and it's going to kind of match that right about here. And then the black, like that. Okay. That and then this section. I want to have a little bit of variation pattern. I don't want to do much, but I do want to have some. Okay, there we go. That's good enough for now. Let's flip this over. And it's pretty much the same thing. Now we've got the other side here. Exactly the same kind of pattern. Big section up front here, and then practically all of this. Like that. Let that dry for a second. Let's go back to this one. I want to do another coat, and I want to do the edge. This is more of just a finalized color to seal it all in. There we go. This one's finished now. Okay. This guy will do the second coat. Alright, so that's done. While I'm at it, I might as well get these done. These guys are pretty much a little bit of a little blotchiness, just to get just like that, and then we'll get kind of more of a coverage here. Okay, there we go. That's done. Now I've got my flaperons. I would kind of prefer to have these actually on the plane for when I'm painting, because it's just easier for the continuity of the whole paint job to actually have them on. So this guy goes right here. It's going to be a little tough with the masking tape in the way. So let's get him in his home. And I'll actually use the masking tape to my advantage. So it can be like that. The top of the plane, basically this whole section, we've got the strip here I need to do, gray. And then basically a big area of this is all gray here. So basically a lot here like that, okay? A lot of this is going to be gray. So in fact, most of the flaperon, it's really only the back half. This half here is gray. But let's get started. In similar fashion to the white, I am going to be kind of blotching it a little bit. First, okay, I think that's all I need. I'm going to touch up my sides here. Our rails for the missiles are supposed to be gray, so I want to make sure I get all my angles on these missile rails. Might as well do the top and the bottom. There we go. Okay, missile rail's done. Now, we're going to go back here. We're going to go about this angle here, like that. So let's just start doing some blotchy patterns. This isn't an aircraft carrier plane, and so I don't want to do too much as far as the modeled look. Modeled, M-O-T-T-L, but just a little bit, right? So, oops, just took that off. Let's worry about that later. Okay, so we're basically going right up at this kind of angle. Let me just see for reference just how far I'm supposed to go. This is supposed to go like that. So I need to go a little further with it, but that's okay. Looking all the way to the tip. This actually goes up here like that. Similar to our all of our lines on the wing. looks pretty good. I've got a little bit of variation in there just to show a little bit of wear. That might show on the camera, it might not. You can see it a little bit. As I do weathering and I put a clear coat on there, that's kind of just going to disappear a little bit. That's okay. I don't want this plane looking too weathered. Like I said, it's not an aircraft carrier plane, so I just want to do a little bit. Just going to make sure I've got coverage where I need it here on that section. Okay, so this is actually, I'm going to flip this over. This. So that I can see a little bit easier where the white is supposed to be in relation to the gray. So the gray comes back. Now I'm going to do the top here. I'm going to do the back, so I need to paint my engine, which means I need to reinstall my engine. I think this is the way it goes. I think it's actually, there's a fat tab and a skinny tab, and I think it's the skinny one that goes on top. Yes. Okay. So let's do our section back here. There's supposed to be some gray going back here, and then we've got basically got a great big triangle of gray going like this. So let's do some panels here. I do have two panels. Ow, I stabbed myself. I have two panels here and here that I have not installed yet. And I think I need to install those before I actually continue on, which means I need to refer to my instruction book. Let me just change this. Let's pause for a moment here in the painting, because I don't remember where in the book those panels get installed. That might be a section that I just kind of breezed by and totally missed, which I'm sure I did. So I don't see them. That's the intake. Here they are here. At the point where we're putting in the engine, we've got our two panels. These guys here. These guys here, F-28 and 29. They got to be installed. So where's my F and tree here? There's my C's. There's my F. Okay. F-28 and 29. That's actually J. Let's actually grab the F tree. Here they are, 28 and 29, and they need some primer on them first, so that everything stays the same color. So those are black now. Before we glue them, that's going to take a minute to dry. So while we're waiting for that, let's work on a couple other parts, okay? So while those dry, let's work on this guy here and do on the other wing. Okay, this guy's going to be a little more tricky to put in because I've got the teeth really. Okay, so we can work on this wing. This wing looks like mostly gray, but we do have this line here kind of going like this over, so we don't have to do all this part, right? But our tip is going to be gray, and so I'm just going to do this, rotate this, just to give me a better idea of where, just kind of draw a bit of a line like that, to give me an idea of where that goes. Again, getting all sides of my missile rail. As I said, all sides. Okay. Doing my little pattern. Basically what this turns out when you do this is it kind of highlights some other areas so that when you do your main coat, it's actually doing a second coat on those spots. I want to kind of get the line so I can see. As I come back to flood the area, I move my brush back further so my spray pattern's a little wider and not quite so precise. There we go. That's the other side. Subtle but effective. There we go. Okay, so let's go back to these now that that is done. Primer is dry. Let's get these off of here, and I'll take a sip of my coffee. There's one and two. Okay, it's going to be kind of hard to get these mixed up because one is concave and the other is convex, which basically means they're only going to fit one way. And so it'll be kind of hard to get them mixed up. Okay, so Let's move my tail fin. My tail fin is finished as far as gray. Move that out of the way. Get some glue. So this guy is going to go right here. Just like that. Fits nice and flush. I'll give him that. Again, why Tamiya decided to make you install these two here, I do not know. Like I said, they fit nice and flush. You barely even feel it with your hand, with your finger. But okay, they're in there. So now I can continue painting. Even though it's freshly glued, I can still paint it right away. So that's that. Let's change this again, and we'll go back. Back to making our little paint triangle here. Basically going almost all the way up to about here. I want to make sure we've got gray all the way there. And there we go. So now I'll just kind of conform this all one nice color. If you find the weathering is a little too harsh, then just put your covering coat a little thicker, and that kind of mutes your blotchiness effect for you. And you don't have to worry about it too much. I do like having the little panels a little bit highlighted a little bit, just so to point them out, and then that's that. Okay, so that's that part. Okay, let's move on. Let's move forward on this plane to the middle spine. Basically, straight through the middle here, big angle over here, and along there. Okay, so I rotate this to get a better idea. Going straight along here, this whole piece, all the way back, kind of to the tail fin almost. So, basically, kind of a line like this. I'm going to go straight across like that, down to here. Basically this whole section, which means doing little panels. I want to first do my little blotching. Okay, now I'll highlight some panels. The F-16 does have a lot of panels on it, which makes painting it unique. Of course, when I get to the point where I'm painting with black, this plane's not going to be pure black, right? It's going to be NATO black. It's going to be NATO black, and so it's not black, it's not pure. Just highlighting the inside of each panel. You're not going to see when I paint it black, but it's not really the point, now is it? Okay, I think we're ready for our conforming color now, or coat. Straight back like that. Yeah. All the way to the white. Again, just making sure that I'm going to have coverage where I need it. Yeah, it doesn't even need to go down this far. There's going to be a black strip through it, so that's fine. And the black, I'm not going to have to worry about that much, because the black is just basically going to be one solid color. That's it. Okay, anything else? I've got a little strip up front here that I need to do. Like this. So we'll just do our strip here. It's going to be black on top here, but just over the top of the cone. Just do a little bit. Go back a little further. Go. All right. So there's our top of the plane finished. Okay. Which means I can flip this one over and let's look at the bottom of the plane. Bottom of the plane, similar situation, not much different. Except with the bottom of the plane, I'm not going to do as much modeling. I will do our highlighting the panels, but not so much modeling. We've got our same situation with our little triangle going up, something like this. We've got this wing here, back, actually, I have a bit of a mistake. My wing isn't going all the way here. It's cut off, which means I need to reference the original photograph. Right here. And see how that is. So that's basically this whole thing. It's just one little section is going to be black there. But this basically is going to be like to there. That's all going to be gray. Okay, so let's do some highlighting. What did I say about the modeling? Well, screw that. That's what I got to say about that. So I'm going to do the sides here too, because that's basically the same. Doing a little bit of highlight on there. There we go. One wing done. Back side's done. Let's look at this other wing. This other wing has mostly this area here, and then a big strip here. This only part is this that's going to be black, really. So basically that, and then we've got this section here, that, and kind of where my finger's holding it there is going to be black, but the rest of it's going to be gray. So we've got this little section back here. This is all gray. Then, coming back here, that spot there, as I said before, doing this underneath here, I'm doing a lot more just coverage. And not worrying about all the modeling effects and all that stuff. It's more about getting it covered. Like that. And that's done on that way. Although I kind of have some spots where it didn't cover the white quite enough. There we go. Okay, both wings done. Now what do we have to do under here? We have the middle section, great big middle section here that's going to be done. Let's turn this around. All in the middle here and up this panel here. I guess it kind of matches the top along here, so we're underneath. So let's just do this. This is a point where it kind of just comes to this. I'm actually going back too far. No, not really. Okay. Highlight some panels here just to make sure. I don't want it too uniform, you know what I mean? I think that's good though. I think we're in a good spot for our coverage. I think we've got to do a little more here though. Closer to the fin. It's really hard to see in the picture where the fins are because it's just pure black. Okay, so that's that. So next we've got our nose right there. This is all going to be gray. So it's all just this front side of the stripe. White, it's kind of difficult to highlight. So basically what I can do is just do that and then cover. that's it. And I think, guys, that's it for the gray. That is it. Okay, so with the gray done, the only thing I need to do is the actual nose cone. So I'm going to take my NATO black, and I'll just put a drop or two into my cup, and get myself a little bit darker gray. I'm actually going to pull a little bit of the gray out of here, because that's just too much, and that's going to be it's a waste of paint. Paint's expensive, Paint is a little expensive, and so I will say that keeping the lid on the cup of the airbrush actually really did help in keeping the paint nice and liquidy and flowing good. So I'm going to take my brush here, just dip it in there, and swirl that around in there. I don't want to add paint to this. Okay. I want a darker gray, but I don't want it crazy dark, right? Just a little difference. There we go. Just a little bit. I think that's good enough. I think. I don't know. Let's try 2 more little dips in there, or 3. Okay. I can notice a definite change in the color of the gray now, so that's definitely going to be different. You don't want to spray directly right away onto the part. You got to spray for a second or two, just into a safe area, until they actually start getting the flow out of the cup. So yeah, I do have this kind of shoved in here with tape. Let's just make sure that's a little solid so this doesn't come blowing off of my thing. Oops, wrong one. Okay. Alright, so let's move our plane out of the way, and let's do this. Now, here's the top. I'm going to start spraying, let that darker gray start to come through. Okay. Okay, so there's our nose cone. I think that's good. More than enough. What I need. Okay, and if I don't find that's not quite dark enough, let's just take a look here. Do you prefer the airbrush or masking and spraying? I would say the airbrush, because you have more precise control over it. Now, I'm not seeing a lot of difference in the gray, so I need to add more of the black to my paint, because that is really no difference at all. You probably don't even notice it at all on the camera. Visually, I'm not seeing, that's not dark enough, so I need to add more black. Okay, now let's hope that this is more noticeable. testing it here, I'm not seeing much difference. It is very, very slight, but it is more. So unfortunately, by putting more and more layers of paint on, it does make it so that any weathering or whatever on the actual nose kind of gets mottled and disappears. But it is what it is. It's definitely a darker color now. I just wanted it to actually be noticeable on the plane. Now I do notice it. I can see that's definitely a different shade, and you can see it on the camera too. And that's what I wanted, right? So that was a success. So the nose cone finally done. Let's just put this over there so he can dry nice and happy, and close up my paint. And it's time to clean up my airbrush because the gray is done. We're finished with the gray, and as I figured, I don't have time to do any of the black. Also, I have a lot of masking to do to get ready for the black, which I will do off camera, and that will be next time. So you guys see in the description box down below there's going to be some links. I say this every time. There's links to my Instagram and to my Twitch channel, and it'd be great if you guys went on there and followed me on those. As the plane decides to interrupt me in my own channel plugging, that's awesome. Thank you very much, Airplane. So, looking at my channel analytics, I see that a good 83% of you guys that watch my channel have not subscribed. I would really appreciate it if you guys subscribe. It's free, it doesn't cost you anything. It just will put my channel into your suggested videos a little more often, and that really helps out this channel. And it helps me out, and I really appreciate it. Just hit that like button, hit subscribe, and we'll see you all in the next one.